What's up, vapors? Thanks for checking out Daily Vape TV. My name is Nick, and it's Fresh Build Friday. That's right, we got a brand new coil for you guys to try out today. Actually, it's not that different because in my previous Fresh Build Friday video, we did the exact same coil. However, I felt like doing it in the more traditional style of how you build the fuse Clapton wire itself. So, of course, today you're going to need a drill. And honestly, it's up to you what kind of jig that you like to use. I have this thing here that my buddy Mike lent me. This is his personal jig, so big shout out to you, Mike. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it. And what this is a machinist's tool with a little adjustable arm here, so that I can adjust it specifically to the size of my drill when it is upright. However, some people like it laying down on its side, so really it's just in a matter of testing something that works for you. But really all you need is these things here, which are fishing spinners. So get yourself some of those from any outdoors store or something like that, sporting goods store, and you can have a jig very similar to this. This is just a big chunk of stainless steel as a counterweight, but it honestly helps if you do have two people kind of holding one side, or a vise or a clamp that's going to hold it to your table. So that's what I'm going to be using today, along with the drill. So don't forget, I am going to be announcing the 3 winners of the Clapton Jig Rig V2 at the end of this video. So if you entered that contest, make sure you stay tuned for that as well. I was only going to give away 1, but since then they upgraded it to a little bit newer style. They added little teeth at the top and bottom here so that there's no way for the clamp to come apart, which is a big improvement. I think that helps out a lot. Of course, I'll be covering that in a later video. But anyways, I have 3 of them to give away, so if you entered, make sure you stay tuned and pay attention. Who knows, your name might be called. So with that being said, let's go down into the close-up view, grab your wick, grab your wire, grab your addy, grab your mod and everything else, and let's build it up. Alright guys, so as you can see here, we have our fuse Clapton jig all set up, and basically all it entails is your drill on this side. This is a machinist's tool that a buddy of mine, Mike, gave me, so thanks a lot, Mike. Do appreciate that. It's got a little pivot on here with a bunch of fishing spinners, and that's what is going to allow it to free spin without binding up. I thread a strand of 26 gauge back and through onto the chuck of the drill on this end here. So that is basically how this is allowed to free spin, all while having tension on it. So that way you can kind of put a little bit of back pressure on the wire whenever you're wrapping your fuse Clapton this way here. So you actually want to put a little bit of tension going a little bit back, angled a little back towards the drill whenever you do this, because that way it allows for the wire to wrap right over itself and not have for any gaps in the wire. So yeah, it's a pretty good system. It's worked really well for me so far. So let's just go ahead and thread this 36 gauge nichrome onto this end, which is already installed in the chuck of the drill. I'm actually going to remove that, and we're going to get this coil started just by wrapping a few manual wraps around the leads that I have into the chuck of the drill. So let's just do that right now. Alright, so now we have it in the chuck of the drill. I'm just going to take my spool and hold it at a slight angle back here, and I'm going to start off real slow for you guys to see a little bit better, and then I'm going to speed the drill up. And you want to find a good place to hold your wire. For some people it's, up here, for some it's down low, for some it's different. You want to do the spool overhand, go for it. For me, I find this the most comfortable way to hold the spool of wire, so that's the way I do it. And if you start to see some spaces in your wire, all you have to do is just take your fingernails and just kind of squish them back on each other. Just be very careful not to put too much pressure on it, because then you're going to overlap your wire. So then you just want to get started, again, just real slow. Take your time with this, because this is the most delicate process. Alright, so not the cleanest wire I've ever built, but it's pretty darn good. I've actually taken a page from Squid Dude's book, and I usually double up on the end real quick. I kind of bring the wire all the way back and just kind of double up the ends just so it doesn't fray out everywhere. So that's what I'm going to do now. And just like that, we have a nice about 1.5 foot strand of fused Clapton wire. So I'm actually just going to re-spool the rest of this wire here. You can just reuse that later. Just like that. Trim it. Now what I do is I take my pliers here. These are just flat tooth pliers, and I usually just really cram down on the ends with a lot of pressure there, so it kind of just crimps them up. So additionally, that won't allow for it to fray everywhere. So that's what I'm doing now. Same thing with this side, just really mash that wire onto there, and that way it won't fray out everywhere. If you do find some trouble spots in there, all you got to do to fix them is just kind of move your fingers back and forth and just kind of squish them together. If there is any spots where it doubled up or anything like that, just try to catch it immediately. That way you can just quickly back off the drill and then start over again real slow. Just make sure you do it at your own pace. Slow and steady wins the race. No one's, you know, rushing to get fused Claptons here. So no pressure at all. And as you can, you probably can't see it on the cameras now, but this wire is twisted a little bit. So all you got to do with that is just kind of hold the opposite end with your pliers and just back it up, and that will start to get rid of some of those little spots in there. Sometimes you might have to work it back and forth, but eventually you can get out some of those kinks just by backing off the drill. Alright, so with that being said, let's go down into the closer up view here and let's build this coil up. So here's the final product of the wire we just made. I got off to a little bit of a rough start, but I ended up doing pretty good, I think. Yeah, there's still a few little bends in there, but honestly the coil jig usually works out all those little imperfections when we're wrapping our coils. So let's just go ahead and get started. Let's back off the camera real quick. So today I will be using our 3mm bit from the Coil Master kit here. So let's just go ahead and put the wire into, actually, you know what? I don't think it'll even fit in the actual little hole there. So I'm just going to hold it off to the side and just wrap it around our first wrap here. Let's get everything out of the way. And then I'm just going to start off with our coil. So we're doing 7 wraps. Let's see, that's 5. Little bit of a bend at the end here, but I don't think that's going to make much of a difference. Alright, and then we just snip that piece there, put that coil off to the side, and we'll come back in a second with 2 perfect coils. And with a little camera magic, here are our final product of the fused Clapton coils, both a 7 wrap around a 3mm bit. Now all we got to do is install them. So back off the camera once again. Let's bring in our Kennedy. And just do your normal installation process. It's hard to get these really centered, so honestly I kind of do that after I build the whole thing. I just kind of squish it more towards the center. But yeah, I try not to damage the wire when I'm just installing them, which can be a difficult task. So let's just gently put these coils in, trying to avoid that wire fraying and all that stuff. So got to kind of work them in there a little bit. Come on, come on. Oop. There we go. All right. And that's a lot of wire for that center post, but Kennedy can handle it for sure. So I'm going to leave a little bit more room on the negative end than I normally do, but I'm just going to go ahead and get those positive posts as close as I can without touching and tighten that one down. And again, just kind of go easy on this wire because it's pretty easy to snap. So just be a little bit extra careful with it and you should be okay. And you want to get it nice and tight, but just try to avoid snapping those coils off there. So now we just go ahead and trim everything up like normal and be double extra careful not to clip off the clip the coil rather than just the wire. And actually that came out pretty clean, so pretty happy with that. Now to adjust these coils, I'm just going to insert a screwdriver of the same size there, about 3 millimeter, and just kind of squish it over towards the center post. Just like that. And that's pretty much all the centering that I can really do for these coils here. I find that it's good enough, especially for the Kennedy. There's plenty of airflow going on in there in the Kennedy 24, so it always comes out pretty good. Now, one little thing I like to do before I heat these things up is just tilt the whole thing upside down and shake it out, because sometimes you get a little bit of wire stuck in there and then it can lead to shorts. So just go like that, or if you want to, just take the atomizer off and rinse it in the sink real quick. Some people really like to get in there and brush up their coils with like a toothbrush or something like that, soap and water, things like that. But personally, I don't have a big problem with cleanliness, but some people like to be a bit nitpicky about it. So now I'm just going to go ahead and set the wattage a little bit lower than I normally vape at. So we're going to set it to about 40 watts. Close enough, 36 watts, and then we'll get started with the tune-ups. So you just want to pulse it gently until those coils just barely start to glow, and make sure you just get out any little hot spots that might occur. It's going to be a little bit of a process doing this because I have the wattage set so low, but you also do that to kind of bring out the color a little bit. A lot of people like to take pictures with their iPhones or something like that of their coils before they cotton it and everything like that. So this is what you call the color shot. You want to fire it at a very low wattage, and that's how the color in the nichrome actually comes out. So we're a little bit beyond that point as it is right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and fire it up at higher wattage now. I'm going to crank it up to about 80 watts, and I think that's going to be good for us. So there we go. Let's just go ahead and give it some power, and we're looking pretty good. They're glowing from the inside out. And with these ceramic tweezers, it's really cool because you can fire your coils up right when you're touching them. So it's very easy to tune up your coils like that. So we're looking pretty good. Let's just go ahead and give it some full heat here. Glowing from the inside out. Still a few little hot spots to be worked out, but not anything major. Yeah, we're looking pretty good. So, all right, these guys are looking good. Let's go ahead and get some cotton in those coils. All right, so I have my sheet of Kogendo cotton, and I'm just going to take off one little layer here, and that's all we're going to be using today. Usually what I do is I just split it right in half, and that's going to be good for 2 3mm coils. So I also rip off just the outside edge, just a little thin strip on the outside edge, just to kind of break up the hard fibers in there. and I think it helps with wicking. I mean, everyone's got their own technique. A lot of you guys probably use the Scottish roll and stuff like that, or maybe you don't even use Japanese cotton, but this is just my technique. So let me do my magic, and yeah, let's go into the fast forward mode here. Alright, and today we will be using some Pleased as Punch by Holy Cow e-liquid. Hope you guys watched that review. And yeah, let's drip this baby up. Alright, we are all ready to go for some vapor production. Let's just show you a quick little shot here. And there she goes. Let's back off the camera and get a better shot of this. So here we go. This is 83 watts. Pretty good if you ask me. All right, let's throw the top cap back on, go back to the main screen, and have a vape on this thing. So I know we went over the finer details of this build in my previous Fresh Build Friday video, but for those of you that missed that one, I'm going to go over it briefly again. So my first category with any build is going to be the heat. And honestly, the way I have it built in this particular setup, I can do it at around 80 or 90 watts, no problem. The final resistance came right out to 0.2 ohms, which is perfect for me. It would be decent on a mech, but honestly, it's better on a regulated mod. 4.07 volts at 83 watts. I'll probably end up cranking this thing up to about 90 watts later on, but for now, the heat is average. I'd say it's a nice warm to hot vape, not scorching, and I think it stays relatively cool as far as the you know, overall heat is concerned. It's not too hot. I like that on the Kennedy because the airflow is perfect. I think the airflow is definitely perfect for this particular build, and that's exactly how I like it. It's absolutely spot on. So my next category is the ramp up and ramp down time. As far as the ramp up time, yeah, it's a little bit longer than average, but if you're using all nichrome wire like I did in this video, you're going to notice a significant increase in the ramp speed for this particular coil. It all comes down to how many wraps you have and what type of wire you're using. So if you're using this with Kanthal as the core or something like that, then you're going to notice a little bit slower of a ramp up time. But like I said, the way I have it configured right now, almost an unnoticeable ramp up speed, and the ramp down speed is not too bad as well. You do get a little bit of a sizzle, but for a larger coil like this one here with 7 wraps, that's kind of to be expected, so not too bad overall on that category. The third category is the difficulty of this build. Honestly, this way is a little bit more difficult than using the jig. I have been using the Clapton Jig Rig V2 from Vape 3D for the past week or 2 weeks rather, and honestly I find that the jig is a little bit easier. The setup time is a little bit much, and I know it can be a bit finicky if you're not used to it, but if you get it going just right, I can do it one-handed while carrying on a conversation with one of my friends at the shop. While this method here requires a lot of concentration and patience, and if you screw up, you have to just quickly catch it and back off that wire a little bit before you get going again. So the difficulty, I'm going to say, is a little bit on the harder side. So I'm going to say moderate to hard as far as the difficulty is concerned with this build here. But honestly, any experienced builder, especially if you already know how to Clapton wire yourself, that's going to be a cakewalk for you guys. So the question you guys have all been asking, I know in your heads, is how's the flavor on this build? And I have to say, fantastic. I just did the review on the Holy Cow e-liquid Pleased as Punch, and I gotta say, out of the normal testing rig that I have, you get about, you know, half of the flavor that you get out of using these coils here. So Honestly, I absolutely love the Fuse Clapton coil. I feel like that is the perfect coil for anybody. It's good on a mechanical if you're using 5 wraps or 7 wraps on a regulated mod such as this here. If you have a lower wattage mod, you can do a higher resistance and it's going to be just fine. So I feel like this is the ultimate coil. I feel like everyone should learn how to do Fuse Clapton. So hopefully this little tutorial helped you if you've been struggling with the more difficult builds. But so now it is time to give away 3 of these Clapton jig rigs. So let's go to the computer screen view and let's give some stuff away. Alright guys, so here's how it's going to work. I have all your names here and I'm just going to copy and paste this into random.org. Now what I'm going to do is randomize this 4 times, and on the 4th time I'm going to pick the top 3 names and those are the winners. So here we go, let's randomize it round 1. And we'll do it again. And again. And one more time. Alright, so here are our winners. We have Chris Ardito. I'm not even going to pronounce that one because I'm going to murder it. And Travis V. So you are the winners. Congratulations. Now let's go back to the main screen and I'll give you the details. So congratulations once again to our 3 winners. Make sure you shoot me an email as soon as possible with your full name and mailing address. I'll be sure to get those out to you as soon as I possibly can. Hope you guys enjoy those and hopefully it helps you out with your future wire building skills. So with that being said, thank you guys all for entering my contest. I really love the opportunity to give this stuff away with a big shout out going of course to vaped3d.com. Of course the link will be down there in the description as well for that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for entering my contest, and yeah, don't forget to leave a comment in the box below of what type of coils you want to see me build in the future. I know you guys have been saying alien wire for the longest time. I'm going to try to get around to that one as soon as I possibly can. I just got to make sure I perfect it before I start recording it on camera. So with that being said, if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. Don't forget to check out the advocacy links in the description. I have them down there for you. Make sure you're fighting for your right to vape. Also check me out on my different social media pages. I have Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you follow me on there, as well as Facebook. Don't forget to like my page on there and my Snapchat. So with that being said, that about does it guys, and as always, vape on.